Memorializing Sand Creek is an unusually complicated project, even in the context of a field that is as littered with bodies as American memory. Sand Creek is both a kind of a historical problem and also an open wound. And so memorializing that sort of event, or even thinking about the way that sort of event can be memorialized, is unusually complicated. And what I mean by that is that in the case of Sand Creek, there are a variety of different competing, even incommensurable narratives of what happened on November 29th, 1864. There is a kind of an official memory that existed for a very long time, and to some extent still exists in Colorado and throughout the West, that Sand Creek was a battle rather than a massacre, that it was a glorious event, that it was an important part of clearing the way for civilization to take deep root in Western soil, that it was also an important part of preserving the Union during the United States Civil War. That story bangs up against, clashes with stories that were produced by some of the troops who were at Sand Creek, who suggested, even in its immediate aftermath, that it hadn't been a battle, that it had been a massacre. Those stories then sometimes complement, at other times conflict with, stories within Native American communities, stories that suggest that Sand Creek was a kind of, again, I'll use language that I used a moment ago, a kind of a hinge for Cheyenne and Arapaho peoples, that this was a moment in which one era of tribal history ended and another one began. And then again, for Arapahoes and Cheyennes, many of them, Sand Creek is kind of living history. It's not something that they see as being relegated to the past. It's something that they live with on a day-to-day basis. And so because of these disparate stories, and because of the way some of these stories are so central to the identity of people who are alive today, it can be very, very complicated, again, to try and make sense of these narratives, and even more complicated still to try and produce a book that might make sense to readers.